So are you thinking about moving to Hampton Roads or Virginia Beach and you don't want to sound like a new person? Well, let me tell you about all the names of Hampton Roads and every other area around here, and one of the ways to pronounce one of the cities in the area that if you mispronounce it and say it a certain way, you will definitely sound like an outsider. We're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone and I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification next to it, and you'll be notified every time I do a video. I do videos about real estate, I do videos about Hampton Roads, and both together. And today we're talking about how to sound like a local in Hampton Roads. And so there are a lot of ways that cities are named. There are different slang terms that are used and thrown around. I want to tell you all about what cities are being called and what a lot of these terms you might hear, you're not sure what they mean. So if you look at this area, it's kind of a funky area. There are a lot of cities close together. And because of that, the area is named different things. So one of the most original names to this area was actually called Tidewater. Tidewater implies that it's close to the water and it is influenced by a lot of rising tide water, which is what is the case here in the area. The Tidewater area stretches as far down south as the border, but goes as far north as places as you see up on the peninsula there. You'll see those three jutted areas that go out towards the east. Well, the top one is the northern neck. That's the top area of the Tidewater area, and it goes kind of south and east and west from there. But it wasn't until the 1980s when the name really started to change, and there was a push to call this area Hampton Roads instead of Tidewater. There was a disdain for the word Tidewater. It sounded kind of weird, and Hampton Roads seemed to make more sense. The name Hampton back in the 1600s was initiated by a guy named Henry Wriothesley, who was the 3rd Earl of Southampton. Well, he started this whole thing, calling the area in the peninsula side Hampton. Back in 1755, the General Assembly named this area Hampton Roads, and so they tried to make it stick for a long time. But when you hear Hampton Roads, it's not talking about all the roads in the area, which you might think that the case is because there's a lot of roads in Hampton Roads. The word roads is actually short for roadstead, or another way of calling it is ports of safety. So if you look at a map, you'll see the Chesapeake Bay on one side and 3 rivers, the Nansemond River, the Elizabeth River, and the York River. They all converge on the western side of the area and form a little area in the middle that's what's actually called Hampton Roads. It's that safety port that they're referring to when they're talking about Hampton Roads, because it's actually Hampton Roadstead. Most locals don't know this. Hampton then turned into Hampton Roads with Hampton Roadstead. A lot of the companies, businesses in the area still use the word Tidewater. I think it's because it's possibly an easier word to say for businesses, but when you talk amongst people, Hampton Roads is a more commonly used reference than Tidewater. But there are a lot of other names to describe the area. One is the 7 cities. You got Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Hampton, and Newport News. Those make up the 7 cities, as well as the 757. That's the area code that makes up the entire area. A lot of musicians grew up here and they'll reference the 757. But if you see also, there are 2 sides to the map. There's the south side, which is Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and Suffolk. That whole side makes up what's called the south side. If you go across the water, the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel right there, there's Hampton and Newport News. And further up, you've got Williamsburg and Yorktown and all that. But for this conversation, it's Hampton and Newport News. That makes up the peninsula. But on the far east side, you've got that little strip of land that connects to Delaware. That's the eastern shore of Virginia. And another name that's commonly used is southeastern Virginia. Another one that's very uncommonly used is the coastal plain. But you'll see a lot of people that are not from here, they'll refer to the area as the Tidewater. Like if you watch on some news stations, the Weather Channel, I grew up, I watched the Weather Channel. They were notorious for calling our area the Tidewater of Virginia. No one else said that, only they did. People that are not from here, they'll often reference Tidewater as the Tidewater, or they'll say Tidewater more often than anybody else here. If you want to do away with all these names and you just want to say Hampton Roads, that's great. But if you just want to say your city, I live in Virginia Beach, that's great. We all know where Virginia Beach is. Say you live in Chesapeake, you can say you live in Newport News, whatever. You don't have to use all these terms. It's just that because the area is such a weird shape and has different characteristics and personalities, it's easy to call the area different things. And the one city that I want to tell you about that is often mispronounced is Norfolk. People that are not from here, they'll see N-O-R-F-O-L-K, they'll see that folk, they'll pronounce the folk, Norfolk. That is the one thing that if you do this, you will prove that you are not from here. Do not say Norfolk. Norfolk, Norfolk. I know it sounds a little bit edgy, just take the risk. Norfolk, Norfolk, just not Norfolk. If you say any of those other things I said, they're gonna think you're from here, or they won't assume you're moving into town for the first time. And of course, thanks for watching.